to be, which is world leading when it comes to family dispute resolution. So can I just conclude by once again thanking you for all the work that you do in this very vital area. We have a major challenge socially in New Zealand around family violence and family harmony, other side of family violence, and having institutions and processes that mean that family disputes can be resolved in the best way possible is just one element of coming to grips with that major problem that we've got as a country. So once again, thank you for what you do. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today, and this is your first FDR day, who would have known? Mark it on the calendar for next time. And I understand there's going to be an opportunity for questions after now, so I look forward to your questions. Thank you once again.
So we're going to open up the floor to questions. Does anyone have a question for Minister? Yes, Denise.
Well, thank you, Minister, and it's very, very nice to have the opportunity to have you here, and you also signify a new dawn in the way that we're going to be operating. So thank you for attending with us today. I'm Denise Evans. I've been a family mediator for approximately 25 years, so I've worked in both systems, and it's almost time for me to move on and leave the path clear for others.
A wealth of experience and knowledge to bring to.
I say that only, sir, because there are 2 or 3 things that I'm really keen to see that we address. And I say this as a lawyer also, that I would hope that when we look to the future, we don't mistake the family court reforms which related to the in-court space with the family court reforms that relate to us, because they're completely different. So it's not really a question, but it's a, can I ask you to make sure that we don't confuse those messages, because unfortunately for FDR, we started on the back of the family court reform, but for those of us who were working, we were already in a process to establish something that got sort of completely knocked. So within this room, there are many of my colleagues who we've all got a lot of information, so please don't get those 2 things confused. Don't allow your ministry to get those things confused.
No, thanks very much for that, Denise. And look, the way the review process will be conducted is it will be a bunch of independent people, and I've made it very clear they need to get around the country and hear from people, and we need to hear from Emmons and people like yourselves. It is about finding out what has worked well, and the stuff that hasn't been working so well. I guess when I look at the reports I've got and the figures, and you look at this huge growth in without notice applications, and then look at the correspondence I get, some of which is completely kind of ranting and raving, but actually even now and again you get some quite good points. And it seems to me the issue is a question of parents or a couple have separated, needing an environment where they feel a sense of assurance. So they want to know they've got access to good advice, and they've got access to a process that is going to treat them respectfully and help them come to a resolution. What is interesting is I'm starting getting letters from people who say they've gone down the without notice process because they've been told by their lawyer, that'll make a short circuit. Of course it doesn't. And then they've realised actually there is a lot of stuff they could have sorted out before they had to get in front of a judge. And if only they'd taken that step, they realised that actually by taking that approach, expanding the time, getting kind of antagonistic about it, they've caused some damage that has then taken longer to heal in terms of getting the family issue sorted out. So it is about drawing on the best of the last few years and trying to make something even better still. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Nicola Parry with Family Works. I was wondering if it could be taken into consideration not just FDR as a sort of really plain level, but there are so many different cases with an awful lot of intricacy. And of course, intricacy could mean difficulties, and also not just 2-party cases, it could be 3 parties and 4-party cases, and therefore this will time allocated, 12 hours, yes, that's much better. But there's a certain time allocated also for assessment, and it can get extremely difficult. So I was wondering if that would be one of the topics you could be looking at.
Yeah, I think that's, look, I think what will be really helpful is when the review gets underway is to get an idea of the type of those more complex cases, the multi-party cases, and the time taken. I'm a big believer in, when I was doing negotiations and mediation, actually, time is, it's one of the biggest assets you've got. Giving people time to come to grips with what's in front of them, take time to get used to potential solutions, to get them to the point of agreement. So there are some people who get there very quickly, there are others who take a bit of time to get there. Some of you might have seen the reports I'm dealing with Ngāpui negotiations at the moment. They spent 9 years working out how just to get to the table. So it is just, you're dealing with a whole variety of personalities, as you describe them, intricacies, complexities, and it can't be the same kind of constraints and rules for everybody. Not everybody's the same, so there's got to be a little bit of flexibility. I'll accept in that. But any feedback you can give to the review process on just what those more complex cases look like, I think that would be very helpful.
Thank you, Becky. So my name is Barbara McCullough. I've been mediating with families for quite a long time and was involved in the FDR process from its start. One of the things that I've kind of become more familiar with is the idea that there is a transition between being an intact nuclear family to having a quite different relationship. Same people, but they're all playing different roles. And that the value of family mediation is that it helps people through that transition. And so one of the things that I notice, and I'd advocate for time for this, is that people come, they make an agreement, it might last for 3 months. They want to know that they can get through that first 3 months together, apart. Then they come back in 3 months and they want something that will last a bit longer. I have clients who come back now every year, kind of going, can we just play around the edges of this, or he's 14 now, or she doesn't like my new partner, or... But what is interesting to me is that I counted up the other day, about 20% of the people that I deal with now are repeating clients. They're clients who come on a regular basis back to the same mediator because they understand that you understand them and their system. And that being able to do that is a different way of mediating than possibly other kinds of mediating are, but it's really valuable for those families to think that those people who do FDR mediation are actually resources in the community that can be approached and reapproached. And I think being able to explain that to families might dispel some of their concerns about, will I get an outcome out of this that I can live with? Because if you don't get it right the first time, you can go back and try again.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point, that the idea that families in turmoil because they're going through separation, that trying to find a resolution that enables people to get back to live a decent life. It isn't, to use a word that probably isn't entirely appropriate, it's not a single transaction. It might be that you need a period to kind of settle down and come to terms with the changed circumstances, get into some new habits. Then you build your confidence back up and you reflect, and then you want something, something else is needed. Yeah. And family dynamics are always changing. So building in that kind of flexibility and ability to review previous agreements, to adjust to new changes and new needs, I think it is very important. It's an important point that you make. So let's make sure we get that into the review process.
Just to add to that too, I think families are in grief. They're in turmoil, but they're also actually just in grief, and we know that we shouldn't make any major decisions perhaps for the first 12 months after a significant grief. And we're asking our families to make multiple significant decisions. So if there's more flexibility and we can see repeat customers come through and change our perception that this is a good thing, they're looking after themselves in the most appropriate way, rather than, oh dear, here they come again, we haven't done it well enough. So we can shift that mindset.
Yeah, I think that sense that just because you're coming back and you're reviewing, that's not a mark of failure, it's just a mark of maturity, that things have moved on and it is time to look at it again. I think it's a very good point.
Good morning, I'm Kerry Morris from FairWay. I just wanted to talk about the without notice applications, the RISE and the FDR track. And one thing I think would make a difference in terms of lawyers referring parties to FDR is that once parties begin on the FDR track, if they don't reach agreement and they need to go before a judge for a decision or for some help, they come unrepresented, so they can't bring their lawyers with it. And I think that is one of the downfalls of the system that we have at the moment, because I think that's a lot of worry for parents, and I think that's also a worry for lawyers that they're sending their parties to go unrepresented. And so I think if we looked at a change in that space, I think we'd see a greater uptake of FDR.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't want to preempt any outcomes, but I think that is a real issue. I think I've heard plenty from parties who say they've got preliminary legal advice, but the idea of going into a process without the person who's been the source of their advice so far is too much for them. And plenty of lawyers who want to control and dominate and all the rest of it, got to find the right sort of mix and the right circumstances for it to happen. But I think it is a bit unfair because we, like it or not, and it's not just in the family law area, in so many areas, we made the law so complex and scary that actually at a time like this, you kind of do need somebody there